So you can see that the gas gauge went all the way down to E right there. Of course, that happens right when we filled up the tank full of gas. It was all the way up, and then as soon as we drove away from the gas station, it went completely down to E. Clearly the sending unit's gone bad and need to replace that. So I got the low fuel indicator on as well. So as a result, we're just going to go ahead and change out the entire fuel pump, since the sending unit is attached to the fuel pump, come to find out. And I've seen a bunch of videos online on YouTube. Thank you guys for all those videos. This is just my experience. I figured I would show you how a do-it-yourselfer does it. I'm not a mechanic, as you can see on some of my other posts on YouTube. I'm just working on this Suburban. So I'm a do-it-yourselfer at-home guy who wants to tackle some of these things to save a couple of dollars from some of the mechanics out there. But not to take away your work, but if there's something I can do myself, I definitely would give it a try. So hopefully this video will help you guys out as well to see my experience. So instead of jacking the truck up, I have these ramps. I pulled the truck up on the ramps. They were talking about getting the vehicle up off the ground by 6 inches. So a little easier for me. I put these on the ramps, but as a just in case, I put jack stands underneath there anyway to ensure that there's some additional support. Put on the parking brake, and then I will disconnect the battery next. Not sure if this is required all the time for this type of a job, but I'd rather play it safe than sorry and disconnect that battery. Okay, first things first, let's take these hoses off. They look like they've been there for a while. So I'm going to take those clamps off and see how that goes. All right, so quick little tip I found already to give myself some more room. Take out this spare tire. It just takes a couple of minutes to get rid of that spare tire. It gives me a lot more room and leverage in here, because getting those hoses off is not easy. They're not wanting to come off very good. They've been on there for a long time. I got the little one off, but that big one I'm definitely going to have to work out with some elbow grease. Plus, hey, I don't know when the last time you checked your spare tire, but mine's definitely low on air. So it would really be a bummer to be stuck on the side of the road and need to change a tire out, and there's no air pressure in there. So there you go. Might as well do it. Okay, so I got the straps down, put the jack underneath the gas tank, remove the straps. They're there. There's one of them right there. The one's on the other side. Drop the tank down on the back side like they said, but I cannot get this front piece out, and I was wondering why. I thought I needed more clearance. A lot of the YouTube's videos said at least 6 inches. This is definitely 6 inches or more. However, something I noticed, I don't know if you can see it here, but this one, let's see if I can put this in here, has a cap on it where the fuel filter goes, and this wire is under too much tension and won't let me pull the tank back any farther to drop it down. That's why it wasn't coming down. So I don't know if, I haven't seen any other videos that said that their fuel pump had a cap on it. So I got to remove that. Now I'll find out what size those nuts are. I got to remove that in order to give myself a little bit more slack on that wire in order to drop it. I can't even remove the wire because it's underneath that cap. So I don't know if you guys run into that problem, but I did. Okay, we got it out. We got the gas tank out. However, you know, just like anything else, this was the cover that went on this. So something else I found out, which is great, these do-it-yourselfer projects always run into one other thing. This line here, one of the websites, one of the YouTube videos I saw said to just disconnect these two lines and then you're good to go, along with the electrical line that runs in here. However, there was an additional line that was connected. It was connected to, let's see if I can find it underneath here. Sorry about that. It was connected to that box right there. And So we needed to disconnect that line. But I didn't know that, so I wound up breaking it. All right, so let's try that again. So this piece right here, there was a hose that was connected. You can see there's a couple of connections in here. And look what happened. This little piece broke off because I didn't know that was attached, and I was trying to push the tank down and it broke it. So I'm gonna have to find out what that is and replace that. That's fun. Okay, so here's that broken part. This piece goes right on here like so. I broke it off not knowing. This is called the vapor canister or the carbon canister. Who knew? So had to order one of these. I got it by the end of the day here. It's now 5 o'clock, 5:30, actually 6 o'clock looking at my clock. And that's another 160 bucks. So there you go. Don't make that mistake. Definitely detach this hose before you drop the tank. Okay, so the task is done. I've got everything set up, back together, taking it off of the ramps, cranked it up, started up. It works perfectly fine. A couple of things to think about. Again, they don't necessarily tell you when you're putting this back on. These straps, by the way, you could have this gas can, that gas tank, jacked up on the lift, and these pieces where the screw and the bolt is, they don't just marry up. You have to actually put the bolt through there and crank it in order to bring it the rest of the way for the strap to snug itself around the tank. So both of them, when you go to put them back on, don't worry if it doesn't marry up exactly. You just got to put that bolt through there and crank it up in order to pull that strap tight. Also, up inside here, I hope you can see it. Let's see if I can get this angle in here. Let's see, there's the two hoses. I don't know if I can get in there. I don't think I can, but there's two hoses in here that needed to be taken off. Originally, they talk about popping those two off, and they are extremely difficult to put back on. I mean, at least mine were. They didn't just snap back on. So be mindful when you're putting those last two hoses back on, however they are up in there. They don't necessarily snap on that easy. I decided while I was in here doing all this to change out the fuel filter as well. Went ahead and changed that out. Pretty easy job. A little messy, but got it done. So while I was here, went ahead and took care of that too. Would be a good advice to take care of that. Okay, so I just want to make sure this works after we installed everything. Put it on. There we go. We got a quarter tank of gas or just under that, and it's registering, so that's great. Something to that happened to me. I don't know if this will happen to you or not, but when I turned the car back on, the truck back on, to see if it worked, this gauge wound up going all the way. It was stuck on, all the way up on the word fuel. It was pointing towards the word fuel. It was that far in advance, and it wouldn't change. I turned the truck on, turned it off, put it in drive, drove it down the driveway, back up again, and stayed there. But I thought I messed something up, but again, I just left it on. I just gave this dash panel a good tap like that, and it freed itself, and then went down to the quarter tank that you just saw registering a second ago. So, yep, if you run into that might be something that can help you there. Don't get discouraged on that. So hopefully this video helped you out. I really appreciate you watching. Feel free. I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel and leave any comments. Thanks.